So folks, just since I've been doing some more work with my blackberries lately, I want to share with you guys a couple of, I guess, definitions and distinctions on different types of blackberry plants. Now, not necessarily the species or the varieties, because I can't remember what these are. They're Wachitas or Arapahoes or something, but they are all thornless varieties. But what I wanted to share with you is a couple of the basic definitions. Now, most blackberries are a 2-year crop, and what I mean by that is in the first year that a cane grows, it grows up and it is called the primacane, and that when that cane grows, it doesn't actually fruit that year. Now, there are some varieties that are available now that do fruit on the primacane. None of mine are those varieties, but they are out there. So when you hear people talk about primacane varieties, that means they fruit on the primacane. Now I'm talking about the definition of the cane itself. So in the first year, it's a primacane, and it grows, but it doesn't fruit, and it goes dormant that fall. The next year is when that primacane will fruit, and then it becomes called, then in the second year, it's called the floracane. So it'll put on flowers, and it'll fruit. In that same year, from the crown, new primacanes will grow. So you get this overlapping, continual, every year, a few new canes grow, and a few canes fruit and die. Now, the importance of that is that for the sake of the cuttings that I took in a prior video that I'm trying to propagate from, those are primacane cuttings. If I were to try to take cuttings from the floracane that has now set fruit, it's not going to do you any good because it's dead. Now, on this particular bush, I actually pruned my floracanes out just as soon as they're done fruiting. So this was the floracane from 2013, and this one, and this one, actually all four of them. There's a fourth one back there in the back that my middle finger's on. So there's actually 4 here that came off this one crown. So I've got 4 primacanes that this spring of 2014, they will become floracanes. And I don't know how many primacanes will shoot up from that. But you can see in the prior year, in 2013, I only had 2 floracanes. So like I said, I like to prune off just as soon as the berries are done. I like to prune out my floracanes. That way, when it comes fall and I'm thinking, or fall and winter, and I'm thinking about doing some potentially, cuttings, there's not going to be any mistake of cutting dead wood. Now, obviously, if you cut out dead wood, you're going to see it's brown, brittle, it's dead. The dormant wood from the primacanes is going to be, still have some green look to it, still have a moist look, and it's still going to be tender. So anyway, that's the important thing, is knowing what age the plant is. The other thing that I was going to specify was the 2 varieties of blackberries in terms of upright or trailing. So all the ones that I had originally purchased when I moved down here, I purchased 4 plants, and now that I'm looking, I think I lost one because I only see 3 of the originals. I don't know where the 4th one went. They were all these upright varieties. So when you look at this one here, this was the very first one I ever planted. And again, just for a quick review, this dead stump and this dead stump, those were the floracanes from 2013. And this big guy here, this one, and this one back here in the back, those were the primacanes in 2013. They'll be floracanes in 2014. Anyway, notice here, this plant start at the base and go up. It's very rigid. It's very strong. This plant is self-supporting. This whole cane is, it's over 5 feet tall, and I actually pruned it back. It was actually more like 6 feet tall, or 7 feet. I actually pruned it back to stop it from getting so tall. Self-supporting, very strong. Off the main primacane, it'll shoot out these laterals, and these laterals can actually get so long that they'll bend out and they'll touch the ground, and when they do, they can actually set roots there, and that is called air layering, or what I call it is just tipping. And that is a natural way the blackberries propagate as well. They just tip over, touch the ground, and put down roots. Off of this main lateral coming out, you've also got these side laterals that come off that lead to a bushy nature. So, I mean, when you talk about, the aggressive growth of this plant, everything you're looking at here all grew in 2013. And what I was able to do when I took my cuttings is this particular cane here, for example, this cane was coming out and it actually was sticking plumb out here, probably another 2 feet, and was bending down almost to the ground. And that's why I went ahead and I cut it back, because I want this thing next spring, when it starts to leaf out and it starts to set berries, it's going to get heavy. And it's going to want to be bending this cane down. And I don't want that cane to bend down and touch I don't want the fruit to touch the ground, and I definitely don't want that cane to bend down and break. I mean, when you're looking at an upright blackberry like this, it's just like a fruit tree, you know. The limbs can get so heavy that they can actually snap off. So again, this is an upright variety, and you're looking at the 2013 primacanes. They will be the 2014 floracanes. The other variety, and I learned this by accident, excuse me, by accident. I got these from my father-in-law. They're called a trailing variety, and he gave these things to me. He's got a little blackberry patch in his garden up in Missouri, and he gave me there was a bunch of tips that had, you know, fell over and tipped and rooted, and so we went and dug them up when they were dormant. And I brought them down here and planted them, not thinking anything about it. Now in his garden, they appear to be uprights, because he has everything in trellises and cages, but they're not. They're what's called the trailing variety, and you see, looking at this one, it sticks up and then it wants to fall over right away. Now this particular one, this is the one that I showed in a prior video when I was digging up cuttings. This is that great big plant that I dug up. So part of the reason that it looks so floppy is because it's been transplanted, and, you know, and put it through a little bit of shock. But you can look at this one over here. You can see this one was never moved. That was the original plant, and you can see it only got to about 18 inches high or so before this main cane right here bent over and wanted to touch the ground. Now it shot off laterals off of that grow a little bit taller again. But if you don't have a trailing variety trellised up, they're going to be messy. They're going to be real hard to work with. And you can see, I mean, they're just incredible. This one, I mean, you can see it started in the ground and it trailed its way up, went through the fence, came back through the fence, and touched the ground over there. Here's one. Look at that. See, that's that air layering. That's that natural air layering. You're tipping. So its cane starts over there under the fence, grows up and through, and then it shot this lateral out sideways and touched the ground. So this thing, this lateral here, maybe was buried. It looks like it has a little bit of dirt in it there. But all of these roots, the majority of these roots that are still growing right now, are actually air rooting. And so what I can do with this is I'll just bend this over and bury it right back up in the ground. Give me just a second, I'm gonna lay the phone down. Bury that right back up in the ground, just like that. And I'll bury those roots in there. We'll wait a month or two, whatever. I'll probably wait till the plant starts to flush out, and then I'll come in and I'll cut it right here. And what that'll do is that starts another plant. So this thing here, it'll put a crown. It's already starting to grow a crown. So it'll just start putting down roots of its own, and I've got a whole nother blackberry plant. So I'm just slowly filling this row in over time. I mean, I guess I could have cut that off and, you know, potted it up too if I wanted to. But, you know, I've got a plant right here about a foot away, and I've got another plant about 2 feet or a foot away. Yeah, 2 feet away. So, you know, I've got the space. Figured I'd go ahead and just plug it in there. So, you know, I'm getting better. I'm getting things cleaned up. But like I said, I just wanted to share with you guys, because you'll hear people talk about, you know, primacanes versus floracanes, and you'll hear people talk about primacane varieties versus floracane varieties, or just, you know, normal varieties, I guess is what they call it. So, you know, I just wanted to share, because I've made the mistake of referring to them wrong in the past, and once you realize what you've done, you know, you might feel a little foolish. So I just want to share with y'all what I've learned about definition. The more and more I get into the science of gardening and growing things and understanding, I get more anal about the definitions, and it drives me nuts when people falsely define things. So, like I said, I just want to share a little bit with you on the blackberries. I've got, out of the video that I put up, you know, of all those cuttings, I've got those, a couple of them in the house. I'm trying to accelerate them through a process called sweating, trying to get them to push bud faster and root faster, so I can kind of figure out what I've got, whether or not it's working. And if it works, I might actually be able to come out here and get even more cuttings off of that plant, and maybe off that trailing variety. But to be honest with you, I don't like the trailing variety, but might get a chance to get a few more cuttings off of them before they break dormancy, and, you know, be able to get just a few more clones like that. I mean, already I've got more blackberry plants than I need, but turns out in the springtime here, or the early summer, once the berries show up, the the mockingbirds do too. So I need to have a lot of blackberries so that I can get what I need and the birds can get what they want. So, like I said, just a little lesson on blackberries today. Hope you all like it. Let me know if you got questions.